Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsey of Lottie Albert and this is my crochet podcast where I'm going to be talking all about what I've been making, new things and what I've been up to. I took a little break there over the summer. I mean, 3 kids in some holidays. Turns out it's quite hard to find time to do things, but I am back, and actually I'm back in quite a big way because I have some really exciting news to share. If you watched a few episodes ago, you will know that I'm writing a book, which is very exciting. But this is actually news on top of that. So if you're a long-time viewer, you may know I have been working for about 3 years as commissioning editor for Molly Makes magazine, which is a craft magazine here in the UK. And I've been on maternity leave for a year with my 3rd son, George, who actually just turned 1 last week. And I am not going to go back to my job at Molly Makes. I have decided to leave in order to go full-time with Lottie and Albert, which is so exciting. It has broken my heart slightly. Again, if you have watched for a while, you will probably remember when I got the job at Molly Makes and how excited I was. And I had to actually mute part of that video because I basically squealed so loud that it was embarrassing. And I don't know, this is going to be a podcast rather than a big video about why I left. But essentially, it was my dream job. I got to come up with sort of 10 to 12 new ideas every month, and then I got to commission designers and work with them, set them a brief, and then see what came in. And it was all crafts. So it really was such a dreamy job for me. Before that, I worked in book publishing. So I've worked in publishing about 10 years. So it's quite scary to leave, but also in terms of a lifestyle decision and having more flexibility around my kids, that was really a big factor. And I am really excited to be now designing full-time and working on my own patterns. And for you guys on my YouTube kind of family, does that sound really much cheesy? It's what all the Americans say. For you guys on my YouTube community, what it means is I am going to be now doing a video every week. So my plan is to do this sort of podcast, overall what I've been up to every second week, which is pretty much what I've been doing. And then in between that, I'm going to have either a sort of behind the scenes vlog about what I'm working on as a designer maker, or I'm going to have tutorials. So I'm quite excited, and I have been busy, although I didn't find time to record a podcast, I have been busy doing some vlog filming and some different bits and bobs. I've been working on lots of projects, both for my book and myself, but also been doing quite a lot of Christmas projects. I just did 2 big projects for Hobbycraft, so I'll have those to share with you soon. And I have also been doing a knitting pattern. I know, so I'll talk to you in more detail about that when that comes out. That was also Hobbycraft. And I am rolling out a lot of my own patterns now that I've been sitting on or working on. So it's all very exciting, and I just wanted to thank you so much if you have watched for a long time and supported me while this has been my sort of hobby and side hustle. And thank you so much if you found me for the first time and you want to stick around and see what else I get up to. So that's the kind of news and generally what's been going on. Yeah, let me know. I can do a more detailed video about my decision making for leaving my dream job. But essentially it was, yeah, the flexibility. I had an hour-long commute, so that was tough. That was always hard. But I'm really excited that I still get to work in the same industry. And actually I am doing a commission for Molly Makes. I'm making a project for an upcoming magazine, which feels very strange to be on the other side of things. Let's get on with what I have been working on the last few weeks. I have sort of 2 finished objects for you. So let's start with finished objects. Now I can't actually remember where I was up to with my travelling Afghan last time. Had you seen that I started to join it? I think maybe I did show you. So this is my travelling Afghan. It's upside down. And what it's looking like so far. This is a year-long CAL, and I have made 8 squares. I think that we're actually up to maybe like, or the CAL is up to square like 18 or something now. So I really need to catch up. Maybe not quite that many. 11, 12, 13. But yeah, these are the ones I've done so far. And then over the summer, while I was on holiday, I made another one on the beach. How dreamy is that? And I say I made it. Apparently I didn't fasten off, so I've actually now unmade a row. But this is, I'll put below what number square this is and who the designer is. But it's essentially an alpine stitch square. Isn't it pretty? I haven't worked with alpine stitch before. And so I chose this one because, like I said, I have a lot to catch up on, but this seemed like a really nice, methodical, easy one that once you get the stitch repeat, you can just sit on the beach and make it. And I was on the beach in Cornwall, don't get too jelly, but it was actually nice weather. So in between watching the kids on the beach, I made a square. And yeah, it did not disappoint. It was a really lovely stitch to do, really nice texture, and I really like how in this CAL, in this crochet along, some of the squares are quite detailed, and then some of them are more of a simple stitch repeat, because I think if they were all super detailed, well, it would be nice, but I think there's something like quite nice and calming about having some of the more simpler, almost like stitch repeats in there. And it's quite nice to get to try out a few new stitches, because even when you've been crocheting for a while, you're not done all the stitches. There are so many out there to try. So that is a finished object in the form of a square for my travelling Afghan CAL. It is a free crochet along. Loads of you on the comments, whenever I talk about it, always say, stop, you're making me want to make it. I'm not trying to influence you into making it, but it is a free pattern, and a new one is released every 2 weeks. They're all there if you wanted to go back and make it or catch up. And I think it's due to finish at Christmas. And there's 25 squares, 24 squares and a border, something like that. So there is my square for my very badly behind travelling Afghan CAL. But I will catch up, I will. A nice plus side of the fact that I have now made crochet and designing my job is that I'm working on my sort of paid projects in the day, and so the evenings I can actually now work on my personal projects, like things like the Afghan and some of the garments I've been making for actually ever. So yes, hopefully I'll get to share more personal projects with you guys too. While I was on holiday, I'm going to jump into new things because I have actually bought some yarn. And I will caveat that by saying I went in quite a few yarn shops while I was on holiday, and I was very reserved. But part of the reason is I have so much, and actually I just did a big de-stash over on Instagram, got rid of lots of stuff that I just wasn't sparking joy anymore. And generally in our house and our lives at the moment, we're actually trying to be a lot more, I say minimalist. I think it's going to be a long road for us, but we have 3 children and we have quite a big house, and one thing that I've really become conscious of during my maternity leave and also lockdown, when we're spending a lot of time in the house, is quite how much stuff we have. And a lot of that is because it's like kids' toys and kids' stuff and craft stuff. But the more I think about it, the more I would really just like to simplify and declutter and have that to be more of an ongoing mindset rather than every now and again being like, oh, let's have a big clear out. So I'm also trying to be conscious about my yarn and what yarn I'm buying. So I did go in quite a few shops, and I thought I'm only going to buy some yarn if I really like it, obviously, but also if I have a specific idea for a project that I'm going to use it for. So if it sort of has a set purpose at the point at which it comes into my house. Now that might sound very virtuous, but honestly, if you saw my yarn stash, you would probably just see it as necessary because there is so much yarn. And I happened across, it wasn't even like a planned visit, a weaving studio whilst I was on holiday. We were actually at a sort of bigger country house where they have lots of things in the gardens for like the kids, like trails and play parks, and a Segway adventure, which me and my husband did. I might put in some footage so you can have a laugh. But they also happen to have this little, it's called Mount Edgecombe in Cornwall where we were. And it's like just over the coast from Devon and Plymouth. It's really funny because it's a really tiny little sort of village, and then like a 5-minute boat ride over the water is Plymouth. Anyway, I happened across this little weaving studio. There's a little cluster of sort of shops and studios at this country house, and I cannot tell you what an impact it had on me. I did post about it on my Instagram because I almost didn't realise how much I'd missed interacting with other creatives and people. And again, like I said, it's been lockdown and I've been on maternity leave, so I haven't, although I've had the online community and I engage a lot in the online community, both here and on Instagram, I hadn't realised how much I've missed just seeing a person and being so inspired by what they are doing and what they're making. And yeah, this weaver studio that I visited, it was so inspiring. Her name was Kate Williams Weaving, and I'll put links in the description box to her sort of online stuff if you want to go and check her out. But essentially why I loved her studio so much was she weaves with loads of texture, like loads of texture. So she had weavings on the wall that had paper straws woven into them. She had weavings that had sort of like plastic twine that she'd found on the beaches, and she was just really nice and welcoming and lovely. She had her big loom all sort of warped up with all these really colourful yarns, and she was telling me what she was making. And what I actually bought was one and two. Oh my gosh, imagine if I could balance these. Let's not waste time trying to do that. And three. So just, you know, a little bit of yarn, not much at all. And my plan for these is, I do have a plan, but now that I have them and I got them home, I'll just show you them a bit more close up. They are these sort of yarn industry offcut yarns from sort of wool and tweed, and in places they're like a really thin selvage, and in other places, so they're thicker, so they're about, what's that, like an inch, 2 inches wide. Look, they go with my jumper quite well today. And I was thinking like a big, loose, scarfy shawl type situation, like very loose, because obviously this could work up really stiffly if because it's so chunky. But yeah, I might even include that now as a project in my book. So I probably shouldn't tell you guys, but I will. Either it will appear as a pattern or a free pattern, or you won't hear about it. And it'll be because I've just left it in my stash, or it'll be because it's in my book. One of those many options. But I just really wanted to buy something from her because she was so inspiring. And yeah, I really like these. I have used a yarn like this before. I bought it at Yarndale probably about 3 years ago now, and it was a pink one, and I made it into a weaving, which actually, now that I think about it, would go really nicely on my gallery wall in here. I'll see if I can put in a picture of the weaving that I did before, and that actually worked up super quickly because it's so chunky. So I highly recommend, if you are in Cornwall and you happen to be near Mount Edgecombe, going to visit Kate Williams' studio because she's a dreamboat. I also will put links in if you want to go and have a look at stuff online. And I suppose my takeaway, in addition to the yarn, is that now I'm going to be working at home and I'm going to be working on sort of downloadable products and very much online. I really want to make sure that in some capacity I'm still getting out there and meeting other creatives and meeting other people, whether it's at yarn shows, or I'd really like to do some teaching or some workshops if we ever get out of this COVID. Let's not talk about it. Because it's just, there is something that you can't beat about meeting people in person and talking about like-minded love of fibre and different bits and bobs, isn't there? Obviously we have online, and thank goodness we do, because who knows what lockdown would have been like otherwise. So that's a new thing. Also, while I was on holiday, we spent a week in Falmouth and I popped into, I think it was called Stitches and Cream in Falmouth. Let me know if you've ever been or if it's your local yarn shop. It was such a nice shop and it was a really nicely curated yarn shop. I'll put some pictures in. I just felt like they had really considered everything that was going in there. A lot of yarn shops obviously are just stacked to the rafters with yarn, and don't get me wrong, I do love that, and you know, you can see why. That yarn shop is serving its local community and they want to include as many ranges for as many budgets as possible. But I thought what Stitches and Cream and Falmouth did really nicely was, yeah, it just felt curated and it felt like a really lovely space that you could enjoy and appreciate. They didn't have any sort of, what I would say, like, not budget, but, you know, like entry-level style craft or anything like that. It was the kind of nicer end of the spectrum, like the Mrs. Moon yarns and a lot of hand-dyed indie yarns from local dyers, which I thought was a really nice thing to have in a small yarn shop. And they had a little fabric as well. It just was a really nice space and it was really lovely and it worked. And I didn't buy any yarn, but I did buy some fabric and a pattern. So I'll show you what I bought in there. So here's the pattern first. This is the Tilly and the Buttons Indigo dress. And I've had my eye on this for a while. So if you're not familiar with Tilly and the Buttons, she was actually on the Great British Sewing Bee. It was probably about 5 years ago now. And she now runs her own pattern company. And she makes really easy to read patterns. Very sort of like modern designs. And most of them have a couple of different variations. So this indigo dress, and how well you can see on the back, you can make it different lengths and there are slightly different kind of hemming options for where the pattern pieces join. But they do also have now online a kind of extension pack to make a sort of midi length dress, which is the one that I would really like to make. You can see the lady on the back wearing the lilac dress. I want to make that one but longer. And the fabric I have bought for it, oh my gosh, it matches my nails. The fabric I have bought for it is, isn't it lovely? It's, now what did she say? Is it a viscose fabric? I think it's viscose. And it's very light and nice to make a dress out of. And it is this dark green, which matches my nails, with spots, little sort of irregular spots on it. So I thought that is a bit of me. And I have bought books in the past. In fact, I have 2 Tilly and the Buttons books and I have not made anything from them. And so you might say to me, why, Lindsay, if you're a minimalist now, have you bought another pattern? Well, my thinking was, if I buy everything I need right here and right now, it's going to make it so much easier for me to make the pattern. I even got thread and interfacing. So I really have no excuses. I have everything I need. And actually I think I might start working on this weekend because I'm really excited and I think it'll be a really lovely autumn dress. Although it's thin, you definitely wear this with tights and some boots. So I'm really excited to make that. And I'm really pleased that I bought the fabric. It was not cheap. I definitely could have gone to H&M and bought probably a similar dress for a lot cheaper. But that is not the point, people, because I'm going to enjoy making it and I'm going to enjoy wearing it, and it's going to be all the more special because I have made it. I've made a few garments before. Well, I've crocheted jumpers. I have made dresses for my little girl when she was smaller. But other than the dungarees I made when I was pregnant, which I don't think I would have shown on this channel because I wasn't filming then, I've never really made any things for myself. So I'm really excited. I would like, again, now that I have a bit more free time, because prior to this, in order for me to do any kind of work, I would basically have to work in the evenings or on the weekend, especially during lockdown, whilst my husband could look after the kids because we didn't have any other childcare. And it meant that I didn't really have any spare time to work on personal projects, as I said earlier. So this sewing project is definitely something I'm excited about doing. And it'll be a bit different from crochet, which I'm going to be doing the rest of the time. What else do I have to show you? Oh, I did have a nice little mention. We had a nice little mention in Crochet Now magazine. This was issue, let me see if I can find it. It was issue 58, and I think it did come out a few weeks ago now. I don't think this is the current issue that's on sale, but they did a little write-up. I'm not going to be able to find it now. They did a little write-up on crochet podcasts. So their little feature is called Hook Up with a Podcast. And look, it's me! And they said, if you love to listen to what's on somebody's hook and what they enjoy about the crochet world, then you will enjoy Lindsey Newns' gentle vlogcast. I'm not actually sure I'm gentle. I feel like I've been quite excited in this one. That is beautifully presented and features lots of lovely makes that Lindsey has been working on. Lots of lovely makes. I've not made much recently. Lindsey is a craft commissioning editor herself, so you know you are in good hands with her recommendations. Well, obviously I'm not currently craft commissioning editor now, but I just thought that was so nice of them. Other ones they recommended, if you want to go and check some other people out, are The Secret Yarnery, Turtle Creativity, and then actually it says on page 22 there are loads more. So let me read a few out to you, and maybe you can go and check out some other people, or let me know if you watch these ones currently. Who else have we got? The Wool Pack, Grocery Girls. I imagine lots of you have heard of Grocery Girls, especially if you knit. Fruity Knitting, East London Knit. That one sounds nice. Oh my gosh, there's loads. Books and Cables, Quirky Monday Crafts, Wool Work by British Knit, Yarn Chicks, The Love Crafts Show. Oh, I didn't know they did a show. The Crimson Stitchery, Keep Calm and Carry Yarn, Real Talk with Tian. Oh yeah, and then it just says you can watch on places like YouTube, Podbean, or websites. So yeah, I thought that was really nice. It was really nice for a magazine to do a feature on podcasts. I thought that was quite cool, or vlogcasts. Should I call it a vlogcast? I'm really never sure what to call this, because I feel like in the fibre world people know that a podcast means this. But to everybody else, a podcast is audio only, so we shall see. Let me just adjust. Am I really bright? The final thing that I have to show you today is my latest project for Craftiosity, which is the Craft Box subscription box I work for. It's not a pitch because this box is actually now off sale, but I'm quite proud of this little make, so I wanted to show you what I made. And it is a clock, but it's not just any clock. Let me get it the right way. It's a herringbone clock. Oh look, this would go nicely on my wall too. Maybe he could go next to Harry. What do you reckon? Yeah, a herringbone clock, and it is my take on marquetry, which is the craft involving beautiful inlaid woodwork. Now this is sort of a cheats marquetry because it uses veneer. Can you see how thin it actually is? And it's onto an MDF base. Let me just, I'll show you the herringbone because You guys know I love herringbone knit stitch and herringbone crochet stitch. So my herringbone love continues, or parquet, I guess this is similar to parquet flooring. Yeah, it's a little kit. So I'll show you what it started out like, because I think it's quite cool. Do I have any in here? Yeah. These are the sheets of veneer that the kit came with. And then I just cut these up using scissors basically and stuck them down to make this pattern. And it's really satisfying, almost like doing a sort of adult jigsaw. So that's another little make I've been working on. In 2 weeks time, when I film again, I can show you the next project is, it's not yarn, but I feel like some of you guys might quite like that one. So if you are interested in seeing other designs I've been working on, I'll show you that one next time, because that one will be coming out, where are we now, 10th. Yeah, that one will be coming out soon. If you are interested in checking out Craftiosity, I'll put the links below in the description box, because I'm biased, because I design it, but I think it's a pretty good box. And that, my friends, I think is everything I have to talk to you about today. Oh wait, I do have one more thing. I wanted to show you this guy. You may remember him. Oh, so satisfying doing that, isn't it? Anybody else enjoy that? You may remember this cushion from a little while ago. It was one that I made. It is a mix of mohair and cotton. So you kind of end up with the mohair peeping through the cotton, but then you have a really nice contrast between those two yarn textures. Has my camera focused? I can't see anything because there's a cushion in front of my face. Did it focus? And I always promised to write it up. Loads of people asked for the pattern, and again, it was just one of those that didn't get prioritised. Now that I'm working back through my list of patterns, this is one that is currently out to testers, and so it is going to be released as a pattern soon if you fancy making it. Obviously, you don't have to use mohair if you'd rather use a non-animal fibre. Really, it was just, like I said, a contrast between a fluffy yarn and then a smoother, thinner yarn to get this nice kind of lattice work effect. So that's it. That's a new thing that's coming up from me. I'm also going to be releasing, finally, the leopard print jumper that I was working on ages ago, and lots of things like that. I have a new website. I'm working with a graphic designer on updating my branding. So all my patterns are going to be on a really nice, shiny new format for you guys to print out and enjoy, or to look at on camera and enjoy, camera on your tablet, device, whatever. So it's all very, very exciting. I was saying before I got really cut off by my camera, it's all very, very exciting, and I just want to thank you guys for following along with my journey to get to this point, and thank you so much if you are going to stick around and see what happens next, because I really appreciate all of your support and your views and your comments and your likes. And if you have enjoyed it and you're not a subscriber, I'd love for you to consider subscribing. You can get notified then every week when I release a new video. I've promised it now. I've told you guys it's happening, so it's happening. Yes, you can probably tell I have been quite excited in this episode, but I think that's okay. I think it's allowed. It's a pretty big life change. It's a pretty big new thing that's happening, so let's get excited about it, people. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in 2 weeks with another podcast. I'll see you in 1 week with another episode of something. Depends what's released first or what I publish first, but I do have a couple of things lined up. So I will see you all very soon. Bye guys, thank you for watching.